Hine matzov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matzov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matzov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matzov, shevet achim gam yachad. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom to those of you who are here in the sanctuary praying together, and also to those who are joining us via live stream from your home. It's wonderful to be here at Kingston Liberal Synagogue. I was last here, I think 14 years ago, and I remember it being such a warm and welcoming place. I was here during rabbinic school. I took a year leave to work with Rabbi Rich at Liberal Judaism at the Montague Center as the education consultant. So in that year I came to visit, then was back in America for 10 years, and now I'm back here, and it's a real treat to be here, to be welcomed back into these walls again. So please do join me in singing and in prayer, and if there's a way you usually do things and I'm doing it differently, you can stop me. So I can do it your way. We'll begin our service just by thinking back to the last week, where you were last Shabbat. And as we enter into this Shabbat, I ask each of you to think of something beautiful that happened, something joyful that happened to you this last week, that you can hold on to so that you enter into this Shabbat with extra sweetness. We begin on page 75. Please rise for the candle lighting as I invite Sandra Lyons to lead us. You shall call the Sabbath a delight. These lights we kindle are a symbol of joy. May their brightness lift our spirits and fill our hearts with happiness and peace.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'rasavanu, Erev Shabbat.
Amen. Please be seated. The Sabbath has descended to enfold us in its mantle of peace. It brings to us the precious gift of time to embrace family and friends, to reflect more deeply on the meaning and purpose of our lives, and to worship in the beauty of holiness. May our Sabbaths always be sanctuaries of love and devotion, bringing contentment to our hearts, happiness to our homes, and blessing to our people. Page 76. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Kadosh Baruch Hu. Tzetzechem l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon. Mi melech Malachi Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Eternal One reigns, let the earth rejoice. Clouds and darkness surround you. Your lightnings illumine the world. Mountains melt like wax before you, O God. The heavens proclaim your righteousness. Zion hears and is glad. For you are supreme over all the earth. Light dawns for the righteous. Let the righteous rejoice in you. Soul's beloved source of mercy, draw your servant to your will. Let me leap like a deer to stand in awe before your glory. Your love is sweeter than the taste of honey. Show yourself, beloved, and spread over me the shelter of your peace. Illumine the world with your presence, and we will rejoice and be glad in you. Hurry, loved one, the holy day has come. Be gracious to us as in days of old. We continue on page 92. Please rise. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Praise the one to whom our praise is due.
Praise the eternal one to whom our praise is due forever.
Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvarom ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmeretehem barakir kirtzono, Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Together in English. Unending love have you shown your people, the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts have you taught us. When we lie down and when we rise up, we will reflect on the meaning of your laws and rejoice in the words of your Torah and in your mitzvot forever. On them we will meditate day and night, for they are our life and the length of our days. May your love never depart from us. But praise you, O God. You love your people Israel. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod Malchuto. Le'olam va'ed ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'eleh asher anochi metzavecha Hayom alevavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uchtavtam על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem. Please be seated. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, Eternal One, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You have freed us from oppressors and delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly we accepted your rule. Then full of joy, we sang together. You lead your, I'm not sure I know your tune, so you start and I'll follow you. Chava Elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilo osef felen, Adonai lo leolam va'ed. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, ugoalo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Grant, eternal God, that we may lie down in peace, and let us rise up to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your wise counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from sickness and war, from famine and distress, and keep us from wrongdoing. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and deliverer, a gracious and merciful God. Guard our going out and our coming in, that now and always we may have life and peace. We praise you, O God. May your sheltering peace descend on us and all who dwell on earth. We rise together, those of you who choose to, for the tefillah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibur v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'konei hakol, v'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, u'mevig ula livnei v'neihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו Lishenei afar. Michamocha bal gevurot umidom elach. Melech memit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atal hachayot mitzim. Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hametzim. Kadosh atah v'norah shemecha ve'ein lanu Eloha mibaladecha. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Please be seated. We thank you, O God, for this Sabbath day, which calls us to a closer communion with you. Though you are near to us at all times, you reveal your presence most clearly when we direct our thoughts towards you in worship and meditation. In you, O God, our humanity is exalted. You are our life. From you come its greatness, its power, its beauty. Establish in us, we humbly pray, a devotion to you that shall be firm in all the circumstances of life. May this service renew in our hearts the sense of your presence and bring us peace. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Eternal One, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath. Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu ba'amcha Yisrael utfilatam be'ahava tekabel uthi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Baruch atah Adonai she'otcha levadcha b'yira na'avod. We give thanks that you, Eternal One, are our God, as you are the God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our life, the power that shields us in every age. We thank and praise you for our lives, which are in your hand, for our souls, which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. We praise you, O God, source of goodness. Shalom Rav al Yisrael. tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit u'b'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. We continue with our own words of silent prayer. God, guard my tongue from speaking evil and my lips from telling lies. Even when others curse me, may my soul be silent and humble as the dust to all. Open my heart to your teaching and make me eager to do your will. Dissuade those who seek to harm me and let not their plans prevail. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Oh, say shalom bimroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol bnei Adam. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat shalom. It really is so lovely to be with you all. I can't believe how much song is coming out of the mouth of this group. It's remarkable, really, what spirit here in this community. I did want to share that I'm often quite local to here. I work as a chaplain at the Kingston Hospital, and in case you didn't know, though I'm assuming you do, that Rabbi Danny Rich is there once a week, and I'm there 3 times a week. So please, if you know of anyone who happens to be in hospital for a bit of time, let us know, and we'll make sure that they're getting Jewish visitors regularly, and friendly faces, or conversation, or prayers for healing, or whatever might be helpful to them. This week's Torah portion is Va'era. It is a fascinating part of the text. And we read in this parsha and even more so as the story of the Exodus unwinds, that God is capable of great miracles, or at least that's what our text shares. In this parsha, God turns the rod to a snake. God will also bring the plagues, will split the sea, and many parshiot from now, God will reveal the Torah at Mount Sinai. It begs the question, if God could perform all of these miracles, why was Moses necessary? Why was Moses put in a position to act as an intermediary between God's miracles and the human world? Of course, we cannot know, but I believe that an answer can be found in looking into the Jewish idea of tzimtzum. Tzimtzum, which means contraction or constriction, is a term most often attributed to Isaac Luria. Isaac Luria, often called Ha'ari, was a rabbi and Jewish mystic who lived in Tzfat in the 1500s, and he is considered the father of contemporary Kabbalah, the Jewish mystical tradition. And one of his teachings was the explanation of tzimtzum. This idea teaches that before the creation of the world, everything was divine light, and this divine light spread to every corner of the universe. In order for the world to be created, God contracted God's self, so pulled in some of God's divine light to create a vacuum. And in this void, or vacuum, the world was created. Here is an excerpt from the original explanation of tzimtzum from Sefer Eitz Chaim, a book written by one of Isaac Luria's students, but attributed to Luria. Know that before the emanations were emanated and creations were created, there was a simple supernal light which filled all of existence. There was no place empty of the light. Rather, all was filled with the light without end. There was no beginning nor end. Rather, all was a simple, undifferentiated light, the light without end. And when God's will rose to create the worlds and to emanate the emanations, to reveal in full God's deeds, name, and attributes, the infinite light contracted itself into a central dot, literally in the middle of the light, and the light contracted and spread to the sides surrounding the central dot, leaving an empty vacuum. So God contracted God's self, according to this text, to create space for humanity and all the beautiful plant and animal creations of this world to exist. Rabbi Gershon Winkler explains the theological implications of tzimtzum by saying that in the creation myth of ancient Judaic mysticism, God creates the universe by a double process dubbed tzimtzum, which means a stepping back to allow for there to be an other or an else, as in something or someone else. Our world then is the sacred space that the Great Spirit gave as a gift to us, a space in which to be as human as divinely possible, and as divinely human as possible. This idea of tzimtzum is present in much of our text, but especially, it seems, in the Exodus story. Moses wasn't necessary, according to our text. God had the ability to perform all the necessary miracles God's self, but God left space in order for Moses and the Israelites at large to try and stumble and get up again and take risks to see the power of their own leadership. By God encouraging Moses to lead, but not leading for him, God developed Moses' leadership skills, and in so doing, helped to build a people of stronger faith, of more resilience, of deeper connection to one another. The Exodus story, the trials and tribulations that the Israelites go through, pave the way for the ultimate gift of the Torah, the ethical code that is the foundation of our life. Had God intervened more, perhaps the growth of the people would have been limited. Moses and Aaron were courageous leaders. God turned the rod into a snake, but only after Moses and Aaron had to find within themselves the strength to face Pharaoh and the faith to believe in a better future for their people. This idea of tzimtzum, of course, can be applied not only to our relationship with God, but also to our relationship with others. It encourages us to ask the question, how much space am I taking up? Am I leaving room for the ideas, the passions, the mistakes of others? I was helping my young son, Rafi, last week make a necklace, and it was really difficult for his little fingers to manage. As soon as he found it difficult, he would let out a frustrated, angry yell, and right away I helped him to figure out how to do it. And with each bead, I found that he was yelling for me earlier and earlier in the process. So I tried something. I didn't help until he asked me. I let him sit in the frustration a bit. And I found that he didn't stop trying when he was frustrated. He never clocked how to do it by himself, but he got better and better each time. Tzimtzum is a challenging but important part of parenting and grandparenting, allowing for your child and grandchildren to make mistakes and to learn resilience, allowing for them to risk, allowing them to surprise themselves by their capabilities. I discussed this idea of tzimtzum with a group of teachers recently, and it was fascinating hearing how they apply the concept to their cheder classrooms. They encourage students to have their own opinions. They don't ask questions that only have one right answer. They give the students time and space to share their own stories. Of course, it applies to all relationships. What relationships might you currently be in that could use you pulling back a little bit to create a bit more space for others? Going back to the text, there are many powerful examples of tzimtzum within Moses and his family. We often speak of Moses as the ultimate leader of our people. Our text shares with us that he is the only one who ever knew God face to face. Yet the story of his early years is filled with his family members stepping in and stepping out of his life to help him become the leader that he is. The story is well known of his brave mother putting him in the basket and floating him down the river, and of Miriam, his sister, watching from the banks. But there is a lesser known section of the text that is certainly there in the text from last week's Parsha, when we learned that Miriam approached Pharaoh's daughter and asks if she would like for him to be nursed or fed by an Israelite woman. And Pharaoh's daughter agrees, and Moses is cared for and nursed by his mother Yocheved, and then returned to Pharaoh's daughter to be raised as an Egyptian. And in last week's Parsha and this week's Parsha, we learned that Moses' fear of public speaking is supported by knowing that he can lean on his brother Aaron, who will speak for him and support him. And there's a touching scene where they meet after who knows how many years and embrace. And shortly thereafter, they enter into this beautiful relationship of give and take, where they both bring the best of themselves, most of the time, and their fears, taking turns stepping forward and stepping back. The family's story is obviously one of tragedy. A child taken from his mother and raised separated from his family, who must flee in a state of fear and identity confusion. But even so, his mother, sister, and his brother step in and support him however possible. And then in the void of their absence, he flourishes. And so too may it be with all of us, that we find ourselves in relationships of give and take, where we believe enough in the skills of the other that we step back to allow for risk-taking and mistakes, and then we too step forward. In the Moses narrative, Yocheved, his mother, is the first leader in the family. She defies the command to throw her baby in the water and instead courageously saves him. And then we have Miriam, who protects her baby brother, and Aaron offering insight in his well-spokenness. And later, Jethro will support Moses, and Zipporah, and so many others. This last week in the United States, where I'm from, Martin Luther King Day was celebrated. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15, 1929, and was a pivotal advocate for African Americans during the Civil Rights Movement. Like Moses, he was a man who fought tirelessly to bring freedom to all people and to create a world of equality where differences are celebrated and embraced and where no person will be subject to the will of any other. Dr. Martin Luther King shared these wise words: "An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all of humanity." Moses and all of his family members stepped outside of their individual concerns to work towards the broader concerns of humanity. And as a family system, supported and encouraged one another, and in so doing, supported the future of Am Yisrael and the future of humanity. Could any of that have happened had God intervened more? By being given free will, it means that we will err, but then we must rise to be as divine-like as we can be in living and creating a world of justice. I hope that each of you have in some way relationships that allow for you to flourish and to lead with your passion and your intellect and your divine light, and that you are able also to step back and support others who are coming forward to lead. Ken Yehi l'ratzon, may it be God's will. We continue on page 520 with the Aleinu. Please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לאחד את שמו, וגורל עלינו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים עמו, ושכינתו זו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום וידעת והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים עמו, והארץ מתחתינו. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Life is finite. Like a candle, it burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty, and then it fades. Its substance is consumed, and it is no more. Yet we do not despair, for we know that we are more than a flickering flame. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and light, of death and life. As in our hearts we name our loved ones, we pray that the divine presence will comfort us and all who mourn. We think of those who are no longer with us, those who died at this season in years past. We know that while they are no longer living, they are still with us through the memories that we have and the lessons that they taught us and the ways that we are changed because of them. Today we hold in our hearts and in our thoughts Rosal Burns, grandmother of Tina Higgins, Philip Wagman, father of Sandra Weber, Wynne Levine, mother of Paul Levine, Robert, So this is, so you just read the week. I thought maybe you read the whole month. Yeah, okay. So we are, I see, yes. Dina Saltzman, mother of Ruth Daniels, and Edith Saltzman, aunt of Ruth Daniels. Elga Edelstein, aunt of Katya Ray. Barbara Montague, mother of Joyce Tyrer. Lisolette Hirschfeld, mother of Judy Cole. If there are other names to add, or if there are names that I mispronounced, please do share them now. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. As we continue with Kaddish Yatom on page 524. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam ul'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalau, shemei d'kudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol b'nei Adam v'imru. Amen. May the Most High, source of perfect peace, grant peace to us, to all Israel, and to all humanity, and let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Are there any congregational announcements?
You've probably all seen about the circus on the 5th of February. We've got the circus coming.
There's a circus on the 5th of February for those live streaming. That sounds wonderful. And what's this?
Lady Rabbi.
It's Rabbi Miri Lawrence.
Oh, Rabbi Mary Lawrence, yes.
Yeah, she's coming to swing through the sanctuary.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. The 5th of February.
5th of February. Tickets are on sale. They are going very fast. So if you haven't booked already, book to avoid disappointment.
And how do you book?
If you check the newsletter, there's a link to the Eventbrite site.
Great.
So it's in the newsletter.
Okay, well, this sounds fantastic. I'll be seeing you on the 5th. Yeah. Any other announcements? No? No, that's right. There's no beating the acrobatic rabbi. Yeah. Is that right? Wow. Are you setting up? Right. Amazing. This sounds fascinating. We'll close with Adon Olam on page 525, and I'll have you start the tune that you most often use, unless if you want me to pick one. Should I pick one? Okay. Oh, there'll be an argument, right? No. Adon Olam Hashem Malach V'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa V'chesed Kol Hazayin Al Hashemu Nikra La Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Leva'ado Yimloch Nora Adon Olam V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh Betifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra, Ve'et Nasa, B'chesu Kol, Zamalech Shemon Ve'hu Echad, Ve'en Sheni, Lehamshilo, Lehachbira Adon Olam, Ve'li Reshit, Ve'li Tachlit, Ve'lo Ha'oz, Ve'hamisa Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra, Ve'et Nasa, B'chesav Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Ve'hu Eli, Ve'chai Go'ali, Ve'tzur Chavli Be'et Zara Adon Olam, Ve'hu Nisi, Menakasi Be'yom Ekra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, B'chesav Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Be'a'ado Afki Ruchi, Be'et Zishon Ve'agira Adon Olam, Ve'im Ruchi Geviati, Adonai li ve'lo yira Adon Olam. Baruch atah bevoecha uvaruch atah b'tzetecha. Blessed may you be when you come in, and blessed may you be when you go out. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.